So my name's Zach Gibbons. I was drafted by the Los Angeles Angels in 2016. I started at Saguaro High School, played against you, and then moved on to University of Arizona. Had 4 years there, and then got drafted by the Angels.
My name is Jeremy Wolf, Executive Director of More Than Baseball, and you're listening to The Grind, our podcast about the lives, lessons, and journeys of professional baseball players. Today's episode is with Zach Gibbons. Zach and I played together and against each other growing up in Phoenix, Arizona. He was always someone you wanted on your team and never against. So consistent, so calm, so good. There's a reason he played at the University of Arizona and shot through the Angels farm system. There's two things a baseball player never wants to get diagnosed with: the yips and burnout. Zach was a hell of a ball player that happened to reach burnout, and he's content knowing he gave it everything he had. Zach speaks candidly, opens up about his time in baseball and what it taught him about the game and about life. I'm honored to have shared the field with him and thrilled to now have him on the podcast. Here's episode 8 with Zach Gibbons.
Take a look at this long hard book of life. And if you're gonna pull a gun, say it, I guess I better throw my knife.
So we played middle school together. You went to Mojave, I went to Cocopah.
Yeah.
You went to Mojave, you were in the 8th grade when I was in the 7th grade.
Yeah. So I got held back in 8th grade because I actually went to Cocopah my 8th grade year.
Did you?
I was with Targan, Colby Targan.
No way.
I went to Cocopah for like a semester. And what happened? Something happened. I don't think I did really well in school there. Completely like the going from Mojave to Cocopah and stuff like that. So that halfway through the year, went back to Mojave, and then my parents realized that if they didn't hold me back, I was going to be 18, like my freshman year in college. So
it worked. It happened to work out. Because
it worked for sure. I mean, it sucks, doing 8th grade twice where all your friends go to high school and you're just making new friends again.
Yeah, that must have been tough, man. And then Saguaro, and then U of A. What was D1 college baseball like?
D1 was crazy for me just because I had Andy Lopez, who's arguably one of the best, college baseball coaches, up there with Augie Garrido. He's won a national championship with Pepperdine, Florida, and U of A. So going into and talking to all the freshmen that were there before me, so they were sophomores when I was a freshman. Lopes has an on the field side and an off the field side. So I didn't really realize that. So it was kind of a rude awakening, going into college from Saguaro. But yeah, it was interesting for sure. But D1's honestly, it's awesome. I mean, right when you get there, you get a ton of gear. A bunch of people love that. You get a ton of gear. But yeah, 6 a.m. weights, study hall, including your freshman year. You have 6 a.m. weights, got to wake up at, 5:30, have class, practice until 5:30 or 6. Then you have study hall at 6 to 8, and then you're going to go eat dinner at 8 and go back to bed and do it all over. So it was different, but I'm glad I got to do it.
And then what round were you drafted in?
Shoot, someone asked me this the other day, and
no. Come on.
No. So what happened was, I think it was the 16th, but a kid in my wedding, Cody Raymer, was drafted in the 17th. So I'll always get those two by the Angels as well. He got drafted the round right after me, and I think it's the 16th, and he was the 17th. So that's why I'll always get those two numbers mixed up.
And what were you able to take from playing at U of A? And I've always wanted to know this too. Playing at U of A to then taking it into pro ball. How similar was that? And then what were the differences in that?
Oh man. So in 2016, we lost to Coastal Carolina in the College World Series. So you go from, and if we didn't sweep Mississippi State in the Super Regional, and we would have taken it to Game 3, we would have played the max amount of games you could possibly play in college. Because I think we played 6 in the regional, 2 in the supers, and then a ton in the college. I think I was in Omaha for 2.5 weeks. So going from the College World Series to you're on a bus in Orem driving to, Great Falls and it's a 10-hour bus ride, or Billings, Montana. It was different, man.
And what was the competition jump from being in the national championship game to then short season ball?
So the competition was honestly, and this isn't to sound like, the competition I thought was kind of a step down in rookie ball. Because in the College World Series, you have the best of the best college kids, super mature. They know how to work at bats. Rookie ball, you have all these, bonus babies, high school guys just signed. They're trying to light up the radar again. So, 0-0, 1-0, 2-0, fastball counts, you're going to see a fastball. Where in the College World Series, 2-1, 2-0, you might not even see a fastball your whole entire at bat. So it was a step down. You kind of knew what was coming in terms from going to the College World Series to rookie ball.
When you got to pro ball, was there, for you mentally, because I know you came out of the gates hot. I think you had like 340 that year, like you probably don't even remember, probably like 320 or 300 plus. And what was that mentality for you going into pro ball? Was that something you had to adjust to, or you're like,
You're saying from like college to?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, in college, if you're starting, you're obviously like one of the better players on the team. I think anyone would agree with that. But then you go into pro ball, it's like starting back over. You got to prove yourself again. Where at U of A, I played every single game minus 3 of them, all 4 years. And then I got to the Angels, I had to prove myself again. And they kind of know what they have when they draft you. They kind of know like what you can do. So luckily when I got there, they stuck me in the lineup right away and played me every single game. And the coach actually got trouble for playing me too much with the front. But yeah.
When we were growing up, we would do those tournaments, I think like the area codes.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that's one in I forgot where it was, like deep Gilbert. And, it was, I was there, you were there, Cousins was there, the Ackmans were there, like our group, I think, I forgot, he's coaching with the Mariners now. I forgot his name too. Bannister. Yeah. Bannister was there, and you took a ball deep to right center, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
That's what was crazy too, because that's when I was coming off. So in Arizona, we had like the junior Sun Belt, senior Sun Belt. And I was coming off that was my junior year, right? Yeah, I was coming off my junior year, was one of the best like summers I had ever. And that was when I was in Oklahoma. I think I hit like, I have no idea, like I'm 5'8", like super small, and I hit like 12 home runs or something that weekend. And then luckily area code tryouts were right after that. So I was just riding that, and back when I was super tiny, now I got the corporate body, but I think I ran like a 6'3" that night too. So, and then me and Cousins, and I know we had Gallo on the team, we had Bregman.
The Reds team.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, like our class was good. What separated you though? Because we played for probably 6 or 7 years growing up, and it was always like you were hitting third. And even in college and pro ball, you were one of the guys. What separated you mentally from guys you played with?
So,
because you're 5'8", and no one's going to be afraid of you when they see you, but then they see how you compose yourself. They see how hard you can hit the ball. And
so I was actually talking to a kid my last year, Jahmai Jones, big time player. He's on the 40-man with the Angels now. And I think what kind of separated me was, taking it game by game. You can't like kind of dwell on what you did yesterday and if I had a game tonight. And kind of just, staying within yourself. You can tell with a lot of the high school kids that never really had, college experience. You learn a ton in college. Like, highly recommend you go to college unless you make a very, very good amount out of high school. You learn so much that it's like, take it one at bat, one pitch at a time. But if you look in pro ball at like the high school kids, like if they go 0 for 1 and have a first bat at bat, game's done. Like I can tell you're gonna go 0 for 4 that night. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think just taking it, one pitch, one step at a time is the biggest thing.
What's something you learned that was most valuable to you? Either from a coach or being in spring training with Mike Trout and seeing big league guys?
Just the way they go about it, honestly, and that it kind of piggybacks your last question. Just no matter if, my second year, we had Ohtani, big signing. I think because how many games did he play? He didn't have a hit that whole entire spring training.
I heard that.
Yeah, he had one hit. He had one hit, and it was a broken bat flare over the first baseman. You wouldn't know at all. Like super, super cool, super fun to be around. Like we played Clash of Clans, stuff like that. So just going about the game, and then once you're off the field, it's done.
You played 2 full years. What was that? You got drafted in 16, short season 16, full season 17, 18?
Yes.
And then you were in AAA at the end, right?
No.
So you got, it was AA then, right?
Yeah. So I was supposed to get kind of bitter about it. I was supposed to get my last year made the All-Star team, and kind of got in not an argument, but the Angels were trying to make me into a power hitter. I'm like, bro, I hit 1 home run in all of college. Like, if you want me to hit for power, then you should not have drafted me. I think before the All-Star break, I was hitting .410, went into the All-Star game, was the MVP of the All-Star game, went into Lou Marson's office. He said, yeah, you're going to be going up here soon. So, they put you on the Phantom. I got put on the Phantom, and then I got taken off, and I was like, okay, sweet, I'm going. And they're like, no, you're staying here. I was like, awesome. But yeah, last year was 2018.
Why make that decision not to play anymore?
So I have a wife here. And we were just talking, like, she's a teacher. So luckily, unlike a lot of the guys' girlfriends, like, she got to be out there the whole entire summer, which was great. But being gone, 6 months out of the year, it's a grind. It's like, it's 100% like, and it's so cliche that people call it a grind, but it really is. They always want to have FaceTime and phone calls and stuff, but sometimes you really don't have time for that. And then my last year, I got a concussion in spring training, diving for a ball, my head hit the ground. And then right when I got to Mobile, the wood walls, AA and lower, it's all wood walls, no padding, nothing, ran into the wall, glove side, got another concussion. So I had 2 concussions that last year, which would have made it 6 total. So kind of that, and just honestly being burnt out, like 160 games, right? 130, 160?
It's like 140 in minor league baseball, 160 in the pros, in the
140. Bigs? Oh yeah, 140 games, 6 concussions that I know of. Yeah. And I'm not saying I retired all because of concussions. Like, yeah, I was burned, but that being in the back of my mind is another great reason to kind of end. And I don't know if you saw about like Hoffpar, like they're donating his brain too, so there's just so many things that's like, you don't really want to mess with that.
It was burnout. Was the desire even there anymore? I mean, you were moving up, but was it like the culture of the Angels trying to?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. A lot of people. I got a text from the Met scout. He's like, you shouldn't have retired. I know John Nunn, who I love. He was a coordinator. He's with the Pirates now. He was like, are you called me? He's like, are you burnt out? Because like I want to sign you. Like we want you. He's like, you could be in the big leagues. Lou Marson, our head coach, was like, you can be in the big leagues. So I'd say it's more leaning towards the Angels trying to do too much, I guess.
If
But then it's not even that though, because if you look, you got Adele killing it. You got Marsh killing it. So they know who their guys are and they know who's always going to be there. And I just don't want to be those guys like, hey, if this guy gets hurt, we got him. We'll throw him out there for a couple games.
Is there a piece of advice you'd give to somebody in that situation, or something you learned from that? You took the way of, I'm content with where my career is and I'll step away because there's things I want to do. I know people who hang around because they feel like they have nothing left.
Yeah, and I told our field coordinator, Chad Tracy, I was like, I'm super at peace with my career. Like I went out, I felt like it was on top, MVP of the All-Star game, everything. And I had a great last year. And I thought I was going to go to big league camp. And, like I said, you got Adele, Marsh. So the Angels like signing guys with big league time and stick them in AAA for the outfield because they don't like sending rookies up. So they'll send guys with service time, stick them in AAA. If someone gets hurt in the bigs, they'll bring her right back up and then keep going. I didn't want to do that. But I think the best thing to do, and I was horrible at it, is not playing front office, because you have no idea, what those guys are even thinking. I mean, I saw some moves playing where I was like what? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, why would you do that? But then they have their reasoning. So, like, the more you put in your head, you're like, if I've seen some people who are like, God, I'm killing it. I'm hitting like 800 these last 2 weeks. I'm going to get called up. And they call up a guy hitting, 220. They have their reasoning. So I think not playing front office is like the biggest thing.
Do you regret not trying to play for another organization? Or when you look back on it, you're like, yeah, I did what I wanted to do, and I'm into something I love doing now.
Me and my wife were talking about that. I definitely think, and this is not a knock on the Angels by any means, like, great organization, first-class coaches, everything. I definitely think I would have excelled in another, organization. Because we had, I'm not going to name any names, because I don't want you to post it.
They won't hear it.
Okay. So
it's the environment. Some guys thrive in a different environment. If I was drafted by the Rockies,
style of hitting, yeah.
It's interesting when you look at it like that. Like
teams that, like, my buddy, he was in my wedding Forest all day. Okay, so I've been working him because I do hitting lessons and stuff, and luckily my last year too, I learned, it's helped me because I still do a ton of lessons with high school guys, pro guys right now. That last year we had Jeremy Reed as our hitting coordinator. He's now the big league coach with the Angels. And me and him kind of grew close where he would just bring me in the office, be like, okay, here, like, this is what we're looking at, like launch angle, all this stuff, like spine bend. It gets super scientific. Like, and that was another thing. I was like, I never thought hitting, like, just go out and hit the ball, get a hit. It shouldn't be science. Like, no one was like critiquing, like, Tony Gwynn, like, your spine bend is mess up. Mm-hmm. So my buddy Forrest was with the Padres, hit 320 in AAA. They didn't sign him back because they said he didn't hit enough home runs. And his argument was like, don't you want guys on base so when someone does hit a home run, it's another run? And they're like, no, we just want home runs. And he's like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
It's like, when you look at baseball that way, it's really interesting because are the Oakland A's successful as an organization? They don't go to World Series. They go to the playoffs. They might win the West or win the wild card. So is what they're doing successful? And if they started this analytics revolution, it's the right way to think about it.
I would say yes, but then again, it's, you're always going to have this argument. It goes in phases, like peaks and valleys. So you're going to go into this peak where home runs are sweet. Like kids right now love pimp jobs, all this stuff. I'll bet you all the money in my account right now that in 10, 15 years, it goes back to singles, doubles, gap shots.
Yeah.
And
on base, moving guys over.
Yeah, you got drafted at the wrong time. That's all it is. You're not a bad player. You just got drafted at the wrong time where the game, where it is right now, doesn't necessarily need you. So, like, if you look at guys like Derek Jeter's a bad example. Awful example. Home runs, though. You know what I mean? He would still be a Derek Jeter because his glove, but, like, guys like Cal Ripken, Tony Gwynn, like guys that didn't hit a lot of home runs, would they be those big names right now? You know what I mean?
When you look at Michael,
they would play right now. That's stupid to say, but like, would they be Cal Ripken, Tony Gwynn? That's the way I look.
It's like when you talk about Michael Jordan, right?
Yeah.
How would he do in today's game? I think there's a moment where you would adjust, right? I don't know if Tony Gwynn is capable or was capable of hitting home runs, but Michael would be able to shoot 3-pointers, right?
Exactly.
But I think it's interesting. Like when I got to pro ball, I was a leg kick guy in college, and they did not want that.
On the opposite.
And so it's every single coach was like, I want you to do it a different way. And being coachable was something I had to learn.
Yeah, for sure.
And we didn't understand at the time, you look back on it and you say, like, I get that they're trying to do their job, but like, why can't I work on what got me there? And I think in your instance, in your case,
that's my same exact argument. And like when I told you, like the Mets guy called me right after, because originally when I got drafted, like super weird story, but when I got drafted, I was like, I'm 100% going to the Mets, like 100%, like talk to them every single day leading up to the draft for like a month and a half. He's like, it was weird. His name was Kevin Roberts. Did he draft you, Kevin Robertson?
No, but I know the name. Somebody from Texas did.
So he's like, we love your game, like hard, low, middle of the field, gaps, everything. And then the Angels, so I was always like, I put my foot down, like with U of A, is like, put your foot down early, high Corbett's, like you beat it into the ground. If it's on the ground, like it's a hit. So you put your foot down early, shoot it right back up the middle, gaps. And then I got to the Angels, did that in Orem, did well, skipped low A, went to high A, did that in high A, was in high A for 2 weeks, got sent to double A. So my first full season, I played 2 weeks in high A and went to double A. Did that in double A, got a concussion, and then kind of got in my head a little bit. It's baseball, it's going to happen. And then that spring training, did well in that spring training too. And then right after that, they're like, yeah, we want you to have a leg kick. I'm like, what? Why? And I think, so they have this thing, it's called like, it's like early arrivals camp. You're like next in line for like big league camp. And that year I was in that. And what kind of annoyed me is I literally played in every single big league spring training game that whole entire time, every single one. And I was like, then why not just send me to big league camp where I could get more money? Now I'm getting minor league money. And I played in every single game. And I think I thought I did well. I think I was like 350 or something. But when I got back after one of the games, they're like, yeah, we want you to leg kick. I'm like, that doesn't make sense at all.
Explain in that instance where you're like, no, but you can't say no.
You can't say no.
You gotta say what?
Yeah, like I'll do it. You gotta put a smile on your face and you said it well. It's their job as well. If you don't do if I was like, I'm not gonna do a leg kick, and I go out and still do well, then the front office is gonna be like, why'd you have him do a leg kick if he's doing well? But then if you do bad and you're not doing a leg kick, they're going to be like, why aren't you getting on him not doing a leg kick? If you do a leg kick and you rake, all credit goes to them. So it's a lose-lose. Like, they tell you to do something, you have to do it.
In
like Andy Lopez would say, it's like shut up and march. That was one of his biggest things, is like, because he'd have this story about when he was at UCLA, he didn't play his freshman year, and his dad was like, well, the coach wants to win too, so there's a reason you're not playing. Like, if you were better than someone, he'd play you. So just shut up and march. And that's kind of how it was, is like, if they told you to do something, if they tell you to jump, you say how high.
When I was so I went to spring training. Oh, no. I got drafted. I went to short season. The next year, I come into spring training. Tim Tebow's there, which is so fun. And then he went to Columbia, and I stayed and extended, which is the worst place in the world.
Like, literally the worst.
It's unbearable. And in Florida, it's even worse, because it's Arizona. We're used to the heat, but like Florida summer in full baseball uniform, playing all day for no money. You're not getting paid.
That's how most.
No, that's true.
Literally the Gulf. And I think too, like, not to cut you off, that place kind of sealed the deal for me. I think on average, and I'm not going to lie, on average, during the games, we'd probably have 50 to 80 people at the games. And you're in the Gulf. So I lost a bet. Like, I lost $100 bet. And
that's 2 games pay. That's like 2 games pay.
Exactly. Our clubhouse manager bet me what's the rainiest city in the U.S. And I said
Seattle.
I said Seattle.
Gotta be.
No, it's Mobile.
Of course it fucking is.
And I was like, what? Dude, it would rain. It was just like the worst environment. It would rain. It would 0% chance of rain. Your game's getting rained out. We would talk to the weather guys. They'd be like, we can't, it's in the Gulf. Like, we can't see it. Like, we don't know if it's there. And then it just starts pissing everywhere. And they'll throw a quick dry out in the outfield to try to get it to play. Games at 7 gets pushed back to 8, gets pushed back to 9. We already know we're not playing at like 3. So we have to sit in the clubhouse, and they're like, yeah, they're going to extend it another 30 minutes to see if it'll dry out. Then another 30 minutes. Then they'll walk out and be like, yeah, we're not going to play. So then we sat at the field until 9 p.m., but now we have a double header tomorrow at 12 in 5 when we knew we weren't going to play at like 1.
So the grind is real.
Yeah.
1 off day a month.
Exactly.
And yeah. And it's funny. I forgot what I was going to say about extended, but like I think baseball's so difficult a game. And then you have to start playing politics.
Like front
you have to start thinking, well, if this coach likes me, then I have to make sure that this coach likes me, and I have to listen to this coach. And it's not about playing. And I lost track of.
Exactly.
I lost track of that. And I know a handful of guys do too.
I think more than a handful of guys. Like, dude, like it's baseball is another Lopes quote. Wow, I'm getting old. It's a game of individuals playing as a group. So you're going to have a ton of individuals trying to be like, how do I get up? Or even in college, how do I go from 8 to 5? What do I need to go from 5 to 1? What do I need to go, or what do I need to do to move up? What do I need to do to get the coach to notice me? And I think in pro ball, there's a lot of individual play. Because let's be honest, no one's, as bad as it sounds, no one's there to try to bring a ring home $50 when you're making $5,000.
You're not trying to win.
It's the truth. I'm not trying to stay there until September when I could be at home working a job and making more.
Right. And
that's what it comes down to. And I think too, that mindset kind of made me like, okay, maybe you are burnt out. Because I would never, ever, ever, and it was only my last year, I'd never, ever be like, damn, I want to go home. My whole mentality was like, if I'm here, I'm winning.
Right.
But my last year, it kind of like got away from me. I was like, might be time to step away.
We with More Than Baseball, we have access, to discounts on equipment and food and mental health coaching and things that guys need. On the other half of what we do, we talk with front office and we talk with player development staff on things that they can do within their organization to make the environment better for players.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest one is make there be an incentive to go to the playoffs.
Exactly.
Because if you're in a tie game and you've had 4 hits that day, and this game means something in the scheme of standings, you're going to kind of do what if you're going to go to the playoffs and get an extra $5,000, or you get a playoff share or a playoff bonus, there's going to be incentive to that. Like, apart from that, like, what are some things that you see in the minor leagues that can change for the better?
I think that too, because you mentioned if you're 4 for 4 and you get an incentive to go to the playoffs. Right now, I can tell you there's more than a handful of guys. Like, I got my 4 hits. Like, this 5th one is going to raise my batting average like 0.1. It's not going to matter if I get out. I think that, and I know the Yankees, I believe it is a rumor, is just like if you make an all-star team, you get, I think it was like $1,000 or something.
And that's a problem.
And there's certain organizations that don't even do it.
No.
Like I'd look back and I was like, if I got drafted by the Yankees, which was close as well, if I got drafted by the Yankees, I would have made $5,000 in all-star fees.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I didn't make $1.
When Dylan Cousins won Player of the Year, Double-A Player of the Year, I think it was minor league Player of the Year in like 2018. He got the award. I think it was $20,000, and he said his speech was, "This is more money than I made the entire year." And we incentivize, and what I see is like, yeah, you get $1,000 for making the All-Star game. You incentivize individual performance. Yeah,
and what pissed me off is my last year MVP of the All-Star game. So they call you up, give you, I think I have like the trophy somewhere. Yeah, I have it right there. They give you like a little glass trophy and they say, we're going to donate $2,000 to the Mobile Bay Bears. And I'm like, why? like why? Why not give it to me? You know what I mean? Like, what did they have to do with me doing what I did tonight? So I remember messaging or emailing the commissioner. I was like, hey, like, I don't know if I heard that wrong. Like, am I getting it? I knew what they said. I was like, am I getting it or is the club getting it? They're like, no, the club's getting it. And I was like, that's just stupid. I didn't even email back. But stuff like that, it's just like, and I was super grateful. Like, I had a great agent, took care of me gear wise, and I had like some contracts with companies, and if I made an all-star game, I got cash and stuff like that. But it wasn't through the organization. And a lot of guys don't have agencies. A lot of guys aren't fortunate enough to sign contracts with equipment companies and stuff like that.
Yeah. What, in your mind, what separates a big leaguer from a minor leaguer?
See, it's tough because I was thinking about this. I feel like if we were all getting paid $535,000, we'd have the same mentality, same mindset, same. It's not much of a grind, and that's not throwing salt at the big leagues. Like, it's a grind, but then there's like minor league grind. You know what I mean? Like, putting your body through 140 whatever games is a grind. I'd be glad to do it for $530,000 or $580,000. You could take all my legs and arms off. That's fine. But I think the biggest difference is how they go about it. Like, they're super, like, messing around at the field, like, oh, another game tonight's going to be fun. Like it's a game to them. Whereas in minor leagues, you're like, oh, I have to go out and play and make $50 tonight. Like they're making like $5,000 that night. That's more than what I make in the whole season. So and I think it's tough because I feel like if minor leaguers got paid a little bit more, you would see some people blow up in the minor leagues. Like people are going to want to go out and play because they're actually getting paid. They're actually getting taken care of. They're actually, getting taken care of by the organization because they're putting their body at risk every single night and stuff like that. And you're going to see players actually do a lot better. And I think that's the biggest thing is you got guys in the big leagues making a ton of money. They say money can't buy you happiness. I get that, but it certainly helps. Like you can't say, no, I don't want that $600,000. I'm all right.
Mm-hmm. Is there something in their mentality or what they can do? Like with the money, sure, they're able to focus more on their recovery and their development. Yeah. In the minor leagues, it's like, where am I going to eat tonight? Or I have to sleep on this air mattress again, and I can't afford to buy a mattress. And is there something in their preparation or even in their consistency, like on the field, that separated them between AA or AAA in the big leagues?
To be honest, not really. I mean, you can't compare, like Zach, you're going to tell me like all minor leaguers are like Mike Trout. Like that's not what I'm saying. But people don't realize like how many guys like funnel through the bigs. And I think, AA is the hardest jump I've ever had to make. Like that, you got guys that have big league stuff. Like everyone says it, guys in AA are big league ready. They're just lacking one thing. And that's why they're there. They're trying to find that one thing, whether it's an off-speed pitch or swing and miss and stuff. But I don't really think there's that big of a difference from a big leaguer to minor leagues. The biggest thing is I would say is consistency, I would guess. Is because like if you're consistent, they're going to put you in the lineup. If you're struggling, like I said, the coach wants to win too. If you're struggling, they're going to find another guy to do it. Just being consistent, but that's hard in baseball.
Do you have a favorite minor league baseball story?
I'm trying to think.
There's so many.
Dude, I was super salty in the minor leagues. So.
How so?
I don't know, dude. I was just like, it's like I want to get paid more. Like I want to do my best. And I felt like I was like putting like so much like pressure on myself to do well. I was just like, don't get me wrong. Like I wasn't a dick, but
how would you manage that pressure and stress you put on yourself? Or was it something it was hard to manage?
It was hard to manage because you kind of go back and start playing front office. Like, what do I got to do to get up there? Like, I feel like, let me figure out what I got to do to get up there. Let me go try to do it. But it always doesn't work like that.
Is there something you would tell, high school or college or first year of pro ball you that would have helped, or that even would have kept you in baseball?
Dude, I would say stick with, as bad as it sounds, if they try to change your swing, stick with what you do that got you there. So like looking back on it, if I were to go back and hit like how I did, and I think that's why I hit so well in rookie ball, is because I still had my college swing. And then that last year is like, or not that last year, but the next year is kind of when they're like, we want you more upright, not the leg kick yet. We want you more upright, hands down here. Stick with what got you there, because there's a reason they drafted you. And if you stick with that same approach, like you're going to see success. Because like in college, I was like super low, like in my legs, like front foot down early, and it paid off, like for sure. But if I feel like looking back, if I did that, I would have hit consistently 280, 300 each year. And if they told me to do a leg kick, I'd be like, no, I'm all right. Like, look at my numbers.
Is there something you did pregame or during a game or after a game mentally, or preparation, meditation, something that helped you, or you seem like a guy who just puts his gloves on and goes and plays?
I always had to take a shot, including in Mobile. I always had to take a shower before the game. And I feel like that kind of cleared my head and kind of got me ready. But no, I wasn't like a big, like, it's not even superstition, but like I feel like you just got to go out there and just play, you know. There wasn't really anything I did specifically.
Right. Well, shit. I'm appreciative of your time, dude. I'm happy we could get back in touch and do this. Last question. Your walk-up song was what?
Which year?
Your favorite one?
Oh, it was Dustin Lynch, "To the Sky."
Of course it was.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Of course, with a mustache like that, of course it was.
I did that my senior year. Did it in Orem. Oh wow, that was my walk-up song the all in pro and senior year.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, fuck, man. I'm appreciate your time, dude. I really thank you for doing this.
Of course, dude.
The Grind is a 940 media production. For more information on More Than Baseball, you can follow us at mtb_org on Instagram and Twitter, or visit our website, morethanbaseball.org. And real quick, before you go, if you're in Dallas, Phoenix, San Antonio, LA, Tampa, San Francisco, New York, DC, Chicago, across the country, we're running a series of camps brought to you by More Than Baseball and our network of minor leaguers, and we'd love for you guys to participate. If you're in one of these areas and want to know more information, go to morethanbaseball.org or shoot us an email, hello@morethanbaseball.org.